Thank you.
Kamau Bell joins me now. What surprised you most about filming this episode?
I think what surprised me most, because a lot of the episode is actually about the gangs in Chicago, too, and the gang situation. What surprised me most is that when you talk to the gang members, they don't actually want to be in the gangs. They feel like this is a life that they have to live in, and they actually have the solutions for how to clean up the neighborhoods. They just need resources. You know, it's not a life they want to live, despite how all the rhetoric we hear about, you know, or what we think we know. This is not a life they want to live. It feels like it's a life they've been backed into.
And that's interesting. When they talk about solutions, how do they see their way out?
Well, I think that's why we have the clip with the Black Lives Matter leader. They know that the kids need better schools. They know that there's no jobs in their neighborhood. If you go on the south and west side of Chicago, there's acres and acres of undeveloped land. If you go to the north side of Chicago, where mostly white people live, there's no undeveloped land, or very little undeveloped land. And I feel like they know if this land had businesses and homes, there'd be more jobs for people to have. But right now on the south and west side, people feel like they don't have a lot of anything.
That's hard to hear. I know you grew up in Chicago. Do you see things different now than when you were there, or is it about the same?
I mean, I think it's gotten worse for a lot of people. I mean, I have to be clear. When I grew up in Chicago, I grew up in Hyde Park, which is a pretty protected bubble on the south side of Chicago. So the life I had was not the life that I see there. And I knew at the time when I was in Chicago that I had a lucky life because I lived in Hyde Park, where the University of Chicago is, where Obama taught, where Obama's, I think it's right near where Obama's library is going to be. But right outside of that is the life we're talking about tonight with gang members and gun violence.
Did what you experienced in this episode make you more optimistic or pessimistic about the future of Chicago?
It makes me optimistic about the people, but until the government becomes optimistic about those people too, it's optimistic about what's happening. I mean, I think like I said, every gang member, every mom, every dad I talked to knew what the problems were, and the solution is we need better schools and more jobs. But they can't do that themselves. Chance the Rapper gave the Chicago public school system $1 million. You can't expect every rapper to improve the Chicago public schools. The system has to do it for itself.
You can't just be relying on donations. So I know this week I want to
we can't crowdfund democracy.